This video is actually part of a series of lectures that are in a class entitled The MBTI Learning Styles, the 16 Personalities. You can access this course at udemy.com, teachable.com, or thinkific.com. You can also find more information at studentsuccessbase.com, which is our website, and the information is in printed format on Amazon in both a paperback and Kindle versions.
So this is the very end or the very last personality within our sensing plus feeling functioning pair. So we want to look a little bit more into this. And remember that these SFs, the sensing plus feeling, remember that these are the people who like to approach life in a very warm atmosphere. They're people oriented and they like to look at things in a very hands-on method. So let's look at our general description again. Our ISFPs are quiet, friendly, sensitive, kind. Do you like that? I think these would be like your best friend, right? You can always trust them. They like to see what's going on and they really live in the present. They want to have their own space and they like to work within their own time frame. So we talk about people who need space. This is one of those people that really needs space. They're loyal, they're committed, and they dislike disagreements and conflicts. So please remember that. They really need harmony in order to survive. So these are 8.8% of our total population. Quite a few people are ISFPs. Remember that these are wonderful and they love joyfulness. They want to experience every moment of life. Their keywords are reflective and personal. And here you go. This goes along with the aesthetics. Do I like this? And is it beautiful? So they tend to be very tolerant, but they're also very private. So these people, since they're quiet, reserved, and private, they're really hard to get to know well. Your ISFP, their learning style, remember, is that aesthetic side. They really seek aesthetic pleasure when they're learning, and they like to engage emotions in that learning process because it helps them to retain new information. So active learning, participation, and sensory stimulation are really the root foundations of all of their learning opportunities. It's how they're going to learn the best. They need a personal involvement in their learning process, and although they need to be actively engaged in the learning process, they still require an opportunity to think before speaking, because remember, they are introverts, so don't volunteer them. Give them time to think before they answer. They're very detail-oriented, and they prefer the details over theory. They're quick to learn, and they're quick to retain information, and especially when it's associated with values, either personal or human values. They love practical knowledge. It has a great value to ISFPs because they make quick connections, making connections between prior knowledge, and they efficiently will scaffold it in to the new knowledge and the prior knowledge are scaffolded together. They are great at memorizing, doing, and even experiencing knowledge. But here's the caveat. They can cram like nothing else. ISFPs have an innate ability to cram information. Now, the most fulfillment that they're going to ever receive, though, is when learning benefits others and people within their social surfaces. So let's look at ISFPs. Remember, this is their classroom environment. They like to learn when it's active. Although they like to be active, they need to be independent as well. So an active, independent environment. They like unstructured learning that gives a variety of activities, even including a small amount of group work or discussions. Remember, though, that those groups need to be small and personal. And ISFPs also need their classroom size to be a little bit smaller as well, because they have to have the ability to develop strong relationships with peers and instructors. So think of a small classroom of like 15 to 20 students. Their learning thrives in an atmosphere of loyalty and cooperation. Harmony, back to that harmony point. They enjoy personalized instruction, and especially when there's a substantial, not a little bit, but a substantial amount of time for reflection and independence. Deep reflection is really critical for ISFPs, so using a Bloom's taxonomy and introducing them to those higher levels of thinking really aids. They use interaction, visuals, reflection, personalized instruction, all within a moderate teaching pace. All of those are essential components for the ISFP. Let's look at their different situations. where they're most comfortable and they're least comfortable. So if you go back and forth, you're going to see memorizing is okay, experiential learning is okay. They like to blend in. They do not like to be the center of attention, right? They like variety. They don't like routine. So let's make sure that we really create something that's going to work for them. The interesting thing about this learner is that they really like unstructured teaching with a diversity of activities. Remember, they're very spontaneous. Even though they're quiet, they're spontaneous and they're very tolerant. So they're flexible. So don't be scared to try something new with this type of a learner. As an educator, remember to give them varying ideas. Fill them with varying ideas and methodologies and concepts, but be sure that you balance those ideas and information with activities. There should be almost an equal balance between information, knowledge, and activities for them. Don't show too much preference on one methodology or another. Use a lot of them, and multisensory teaching with frequent breaks. They like frequent breaks. Now, frequent breaks are not so they can get up and move around, but so they can assimilate and think about whatever's going on. Remember, they need a substantial amount of time of reflection. They need real life examples to integrate their ideas into their social circles because they want to be able to address how they can solve something, right? They want additional resources and sources so they can learn more and even verify their knowledge. They will return to these sources more than once if you give it to them. Lots of quiet and reflection is going to help them in their scaffolding, and repetition can be valuable for them, but they don't really like it. They really need a strong relationship with their instructor. This is more important than anything. Strong relationship with peers and instructors. And they will do feedback, but positive feedback has a great impact on them, whereas criticism is very frustrating to them. And if you are excessively critical of them, they will be excessively self-critical. So don't be too critical because they will take it hard and they will self-flagellate. When they work in groups, make sure that you provide them with standards and guidelines because remember, again, they don't like discord. And recall the most fulfillment an ISFP will receive is when the learning benefits somebody in their social circle. As a learner, this means that you really take learning personally, right? You're personal about it. You're observant, you're trusting, you're kind, you're considerate. But also you have to remember how sensitive and gentle you are. You're really acutely aware of what's going on in the present. You need to look for connections between information and relationships because that's going to help you to retain your information and find any way that you can connect new knowledge to personal relationships, to your social circles. Remember that repetition can be helpful, but since you don't really like it too much, make sure you use a variety of methods as you repeat information. Plan your study time. Use a variety of methods there and provide frequent breaks in study time so that you can really use that time for reflection and to ponder information. Use your 5 emotions and use your emotions and your 5 senses and use active learning opportunities. Frequently change your study methods. Don't get stuck in a rut. So if you always study in the carousel at the library, then maybe you need to go sit on the steps of the library. Choose a different method. That's going to help you to retain information. Develop some in-depth relationships with your classmates and your peers, your instructors. But if you choose to study in a group, make sure that you have rules and expectations set up. Also, again, use a learning journal to really notice and record the best learning strategies, as well as even the best times for you to study, if not even the best locations. And as you are pondering and reflecting, go back over these information so that you're going to be able to re-assimilate them and to be able to really use them.